Hey everybody, how you doing? Now I'm really hoping that goes back into focus. Better than that. I think I'm going to have to buy a new camera eventually. I'm going to go over this new moon forecast with you guys. Now the full write-up of it is on, or will be, should post right now. I posted it for noon. The new moon forecast is on theastrologywitch.com. So if this broadcast doesn't work, I do apologize. I do seem a little blurry. Anyway, this forecast for Aries, new moon is in Aries. Actually, it's to this evening for the West Coast, and in the middle of the night for the rest of us. Let me bring up my notes. I don't really think I need light. That's better. I'm very sorry. I do not know why it's so blurry. My kid is trying to get her own camera as well, and she bought one. She didn't like it. So I'm using a razor, which is supposed to be really good, but I'm starting to think otherwise. I'm not very pleased with it, and I've had this for over a year and a half. But I'm probably going to have to go buy another one, or I was also told to download the OBS Studio, which I'm not too familiar with. Then instead of doing webcam footage, I can just stream. And that's where my daughter comes in with help because she's the gamer and the streamer. So, all right. So I do apologize if this isn't coming through clearly enough, but it is what it is. Here is your new moon forecast for Aries. Officially, it's on Friday, April 1st, which is tomorrow. This moon's energy is going to be all about power, action, endurance, and confidence. The positive side of an Aries moon, there we go, that's better, is to focus on what can be achieved, putting plans into action, and starting any kind of new projects. The negative to this energy, unfortunately, is war, bloodshed, fighting, impatience, and reckless speed. We must instill balance and harmony in order to progress these next few weeks. I worry with Mercury, this is the Lord of communication, still in aggressive Mars. Excuse me, not Mars, in Aries. This energy will make our speech and our tone very curt and abrupt. So it's going to be very, very important for the world at large to watch their words. There's not too much diplomacy with a new moon in Aries. Now, with that being said, on a personal level, this is excellent. Excellent for any kind of achievements, advancements, putting your plans into action. Personal growth, Aries new moons are awesome. But when it comes to the world at large, it's ruled by Mars, and it's ruled by war. The Lord of War will probably escalate a little more for the next couple of days, maybe 10. It'll be around the 10th when this starts to settle back down, and hopefully for the better. All right, moving on here. Now, souls born in Aries will be very impatient, aggressive, and competitive. This placement may push their inner will to achieve power and a place of position. This is a masculine fire sign and does create issues with mother figure in some ways. The key to this placement will be discipline, diplomacy, and patience. Aries' downfall will be impatience and lack of discipline, which can result in some head injuries because in astromedy, they rule the head, the mind, the brain, the face. I am going to say this. I actually many years ago was in business with someone with this placement. Not the sun sign in Aries, but the moon in Aries. And we had to part ways. I had to unfriend and block her. We were doing radio together, and I kept having to explain to her, you get more with honey than you do vinegar. I said, so you can't keep going on air and bashing the very person who taught you this method of astrology. Every issues are with him. I do apologize for the loud truck passing. And then to top it off, she would go in and fight with some of the people in the chat. And it's like, okay, this is not how broadcasting works. And if you want to build any kind of a platform, you, unless you're doing political talk radio, you don't need to do this. This is not a place of violence and putting your defenses up. It should be a safe space. So I know all about a moon in Aries. I've had a business partner like that at one time, and it's very much to the letter here on that. Um, Putting a little forethought into things will go a long way, um, especially if you have a moon in Aries. Okay. Um, it's just one of those things. Now, the next few weeks are going to be a green light to launch any endeavors and take action where action is needed. The moon will give you the confidence, the energy, the courage, and the stamina to do whatever it is you want to do. You're going to want to make the most of these next few weeks because action is going to bring success. Now, all fire signs, so all my Leos, my Sagittarians, and my Aries, you will feel this moon's energy the most, but also souls with a moon rising, dragon head or tail, will feel the fiery pull as well, especially if they're in fire signs. With dreamy and intuitive Venus moving into Pisces this week, some of that fire could be watered down just a tad. The key is to proceed with action, but do use the power of intuition. You want to use that power of intuitive Pisces to help you make the right choices. Listen to your gut feelings more because they will serve you well this coming week. Hi, Doris. How are you? I'm so sorry it's so blurry. I just, I don't know what the hell is going on. Now, I do want you to know, Doris, because your Patreon, I posted something for you guys. It's a little added bonus. I'm going to come on here right after I broadcast this. I'm going to record on my phone. I'm going to do the stars of Clarence and Virginia Thomas combined. Oh, that's a doozy. Now, those two are a match made in hell or heaven. But yes, so I promise I will get back on here. I have a lot of recording to do today. That's my mission. I was supposed to get on here yesterday, but I do take care of my 84-year-old mother, and I had errands to run. And by the time I got home, I was just exhausted. So I figured I'd just wait till tomorrow to do that. Moving on, though, to with the forecast here. So yes, listen to your gut because our intuition will be a little higher. And we also will be a little more empathic once Venus moves into Pisces. My magical folk. Now, my magical folk, Aries new moons are perfect for working spells to achieve leadership, power of authority, willpower, and rebirth. Healing rituals for the head, the brain, and the face are going to be good too. Contrary to what many practitioners believe, some of the most powerful, even baneful magic can be conjured up during the new Mars, Lord of War. Using Aries energy on your end, pack a powerful punch and show no mercy. I know for my own self, if I have to put something like that, I always make sure I'm working not just with Aries energy. I I always do this. Sometimes you could do baneful work in Saturnian Capricorn energy. I work with a lot of hour lords. So um, if you do magic, Tuesdays in the hour lord of Mars work very well. Saturday in the hour lord of Saturn work very well for binding, banishing, hexing, cursing, anything like that. However, even with a new moon in Aries in the realm of magic, there's other spell work you can do. This is a very charged and very powerful. After all, Aries may be the baby of the zodiac, but it's also the warrior. We need those warriors in our world. So enjoy and conjure wisely, kids. Okay? Let's see. I read Okay. Good, good, good. Yeah, I had to get that to you guys last night, so I hope I wasn't too I hope I spoke clearly enough. I was quite tired, and then I woke up this morning. I have a sciatic nerve problem, so I'm kind of limping around. Yeah, it's just one of those days. Oh, and for Patreon, I'm also going to be doing a new moon ritual for you guys. So keep your eye out on that. I've pinned something to the top, effective at noon right now. I'm always posting stuff. Um, Normally, you're only supposed to post, once or twice in a month. That's like the Patreon guidelines. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm posting maybe 3-4 times a week. So that's where I put a lot of my information that I don't share with the public. And I put something up too about Clarence Thomas and his wife for Patreon. I won't be sharing a lot of that information with the general public. I do have the chart, and I'm not going to do it live because, as you could see, it's incredibly blurry. I might as well use my $1,000 Apple phone that takes great recordings, and do it that way. Um, with this one that I'm doing, it's more important that you hear me more than see me. You don't want to see this ugly mug anyway. Hello, Melly. How are you? That's okay. Better late than never, right, doll? um, I just about finished with the forecast. So and that's pretty much it. So this week, conjure wisely, have fun with it. Um, I guess while I'm here, I am going to bring up at noon today on my website the energy forecast posted. Patreon got theirs a couple of that goes week by week. You get a forecast for every week, and the energy that's hitting every week, what you could buy, what not to buy, when to travel, when not to travel, what kind of weather to expect, things like that. Finances. It's more in depth, and it's well worth the $10 a month. Actually, it's only 5 because my mother tier does get that. The Crohn's, though, they get the recorded version, and I elaborate quite a bit more on things. So check it out. But I am going to go over something. This month of April, we have something very interesting happening, and I explain it all in the newsletter that was just posted for the April energy forecast. And we have a new moon this evening, late this evening, 2:24 in the morning on the 1st. But at the end of the month, on the 30th, what a busy day that is. The 30th, there's a lot going on there. You'll hear astronomers talk about the blue moon, which is 2 full moons in 1 month, 1 lunar month. You'll hear about the blood moon, which is pretty much a full lunar eclipse. Okay, makes everything red, blood moon. But astronomers never talk about something that has a lot of magical power. Is a black moon. Yes, there is your black moon Lilith in your astrology chart. Those of you who've had a reading from me know we elaborate on this. Okay, so every 32 to 33 months, we have a black moon, which is two new moons in 1 month. This one, the one that hits on the 30th, is not only a new moon, it's a black moon. It's a black moon Lilith, so the energy is stronger than ever. Okay, so that end of that month, next the end of this month, very powerful energy. Not to mention it's Walpurgisnacht, or for many pagans, the eve before May Day. I know in Germany they call it the Walpurgisnacht. Hope I'm saying that right. So this is a high magical day for both pagans, witches, even Satanists. So uh, the end of the month is going to have some intense energy, and it's not every day that you hit a black moon Lilith energy. So yes, it's a time to honor her. It's also a time, I know a lot of people hate to hear this, but it is a time to work on the shadow side of ourselves, because Lilith is the shadow side of ourself. She's our primal raw energy that's within us all. Work with it, understand it, and you'll be fine. Fight it, shut it out, and deny it that it exists, and then that's where you have the problems. One thing I know about Black Moon Lilith in ancient astrology is it's also the death factor, meaning I usually can look at someone's chart and see how they're going to die, not when they're going to die, but how they're going to die. Okay. Um, it's not something I bring up in a full life reading with someone unless you ask. That and the person's gender is not my concern. I've met some beautiful people along the way, and regardless of what their stars say, they're beautiful souls. Um, it's true. I might do a uh, podcast one day on um, what it means to be gay and what it means to be transgender through the stars, and how it's not a choice, it's their celestial DNA. They were born that way. You know how the Lady Gaga song, Baby, I Was Born This Way? It's their celestial DNA. You can't never change them. Never. I never bring that up because it's irrelevant. I don't care. I care and love you just the way you are. So, but we live in a world that doesn't think like that. And I might be a little too radical for some people. I'm addicted to Starbucks pistachio latte with almond milk. Anyway, I think that's it for my forecast. I'm wishing all of you a very blessed new moon in Aries. As we proceed these next few weeks, the energy is perfect for our own personal endeavors and actions to advance. It's the world at large that I'm more worried about. And with Aries in action and Mercury communication in Aries until the 10th of April, then it moves into Taurus and it mellows out a little more. I do fear that the war in Ukraine will escalate until it gets better. It's not going to get better anytime soon. So, um, just the nuclear thing is the one thing that worries me the most. Just it's a concern because that has the potential to wipe us all out, and then it won't really matter who wins. We all lose in the end, don't we? See, my connection keeps saying I'm unstable. Hi, Suited Rags. How are you? I saw the Mars and Jupiter conjunct in Aries at the end of May. Do you think that will affect the war? I haven't seen anything about it yet. Looks a little ominous to me. You know, Suited Rags, I'm going to write that down. Mars and Jupiter conjunct in Aries end of May. My software isn't up and running right now. Maybe I'll turn it on and warm the old beast up. Um, exactly. We all die in the end. This is serious, people. Um, I mean, I, I don't know how else. I'm a Gen Xer, so I've been dealing with this since I was a teenager about Russia and the Cold War, and in the '80s, you know. But this is a little disturbing to hear. Um, don't believe everything you're hearing in the media either, because number one, um, number one, there was a rumor going around just yesterday that Putin was in a bunker somewhere in Siberia, and his vice president, or whoever the second in command is, was in one at another place in Russia. Okay, that's fake news. That's not real. That did not happen. It had not been confirmed yet. There's a lot of false information, especially on TikTok. Do not get your news or your information from TikTok unless it is a legitimate news outlet. Like I follow Vice World News. They're one of the most unindoctrinated, meaning they have no agenda politically. Um, so the news is real and it's raw and it's factual. So just be careful what you're reading out there. Um, think twice. Even now, I'm going to say something. And I know when I'm wrong, I'm going to call myself on it. I don't have that big of an ego. I was telling you guys I follow Anonymous. Now, I did some research on Anonymous. And that YouTube channel I'm following is not, the Anonymous doesn't operate like that. I mean, they'll put little blips here and there. So the Anonymous channel I was following, as I looked deeper into that channel and its rhetoric, these are like right-wing fearmongers. And some of the things they were talking about were just like, okay. So I was wrong to not follow that channel I sent you guys to, because after really looking at it, I'm like, oh boy, this isn't good. So suited rags, I'm going to look into the Mars and Jupiter conjunction, but I will tell you this, okay? Mars, Lord of War, Jupiter, the Lord of Luck. Okay, Jupiter is the Lord of Luck. Now, when things conjunct, a conjunction can go two ways. It can either go positive or it can go negative. It can either be harmonious or it could be infuriating and aggravating. Okay. Um, I have to see where it is at the end of the month, if it's in a waxing or a waning phase. However, those who have followed me, especially if you're Patreon, I said that the worst months for this dragon's energy would be May and November of this year. Now, we have a lunar eclipse and a full moon on May 16th in the deadly sign of Scorpio. April 30th, I said, was a big day. All these things are going on. That day is a partial solar eclipse in Taurus. So there's a lot of shit going on April 30th, people. But the Mars and Jupiter conjunction, I'm okay, hon, and I'll get back to you on that. I think I just turned my computer off. Someone put it to sleep, and I just shut it off by turning it back on. I'll look into that for sure, suited rags. Yeah, May, I'm worried about the month of May. I think the fault lines are going to start waking up a little bit. There's probably going to be earthquakes over 6.0. I do worry about the western seaboard, especially California, but I'm also worried about Seattle, that area as well. Um, I have a lot of friends who have that as well. Um, I have a lot of friends who have visions and stuff, and they're psychic. And one was saying she keeps seeing Seattle, something about Seattle. I do know that there's some reveal it to the general public per se, but May in general, with this dragon energy and a Taurus Scorpio axis, is going to be bad in general. But November will be even more deadly. Okay. Um, Fault lines are going to become active because we also have Uranus sitting in Taurus. Uranus rules earthquakes, sudden release of energy, tectonic plates, volcanoes, eruptions, shocking news. In fact, the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, that happened in a Uranic phase. Shocking news. So, yeah, the stars never lie. Um, I have had a friend of mine, like I said, who is a psychic, thinks that the war and everything's going to end in May. Um, I'm going to have to go and look a little deeper into the month of May. Keep saying my connection's unstable. I'm so sorry, you guys. Anyway, I'm going to have to look a little deeper into the month of May, but May's going to be a doozy because of not only the eclipse energy, solar and lunar. Um, Always remember this. Here's a little lesson for all of you for astrology. Anytime you have the universal dragon in a certain sign and its tail in a certain sign, look to the months that they represent. Taurus rules the month of May. Scorpio rules the month of November. So those 2 months are going to have highest concentration of energy um, with this dragon's energy. The one in Scorpio worries me a little bit more than the one in Taurus. And then with that, because it's Taurus is a solar, partial solar eclipse, meaning that it's not going to be a full blown eclipse. So Taurus rules finances and it rules, it's ruled by Venus, the goddess. So you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Last thing I'm going to say here, and then I'm going to get off because I think my connection's very unstable. But it rules finances and it rules money. But because it's only a partial solar, solar is about outward. Our money issues aren't going to get better probably until November sometime. But you're going to start seeing the new money, as Nostradamus called it, moving into your banking system, moving in. It'll be subtle. And thank you, Jessica. Hi, Jessica. How are you? It'll be subtle, but you're going to slowly start to see it moving in, moving in. Okay. It keeps saying my connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. So I'm like, do I keep yakking away here? So yes, May and November this year are going to be very trying. May of next year, 2023. Please remember, Taurus is a slow moving sign. It's in Uranus, meaning you're not going to hear about earthquakes right away. Uranus, let's see, Taurus has been in Uranus for a couple of years now, and it leaves. It's either 2025 or 2026. Don't quote me off the top of my head. I can't remember. But it's a slow moving sign in that planet. So the sudden release of energy is going to take a while. But I think I always knew when the dragon would move into a Taurus Scorpio tail, we would start having an escalation of earthquakes and insane weather. But May, and not just this year, I think next year too. I think this year people are going to be deceived, thinking that they got the big one and we're good now. But I'm just going to say this. If you live on the western seaboard, May of next year, and I'll start giving more accurate dates on this as we get closer, you might want to take a little vacation away from the water, away from the ocean come next May. I'm planning on having a family reunion here at my house so I can get all of my relatives out of California. I'll elaborate more on that maybe in May. My Patreons have the exact dates, though, I think. Um, Even Nostradamus predicted this would happen. The only difference is I'm going to say, asking me the other day, watching some of the shows they have about him, he seems so doomsday, and I get it, but you have to remember that was like 5,500, no, 550 years ago. He was hiding, he did all his writings and everything underground because you know, the church found out he would have been killed. But back then it was a different mindset, and you think there's fear mongering today. There was so much more fear mongering back then. It was insane. So he kind of had to hide under an umbrella of, work in the shadows, so to speak. But those shows I'm noticing, the Nostradamus effect, uh, Nostradamus doomsday. There's nothing really positive. The outcome is shitty. Like Doris said, we all die in the end. Um, I have a little bit more faith in humanity. I'm trying to. Um, I don't think the world's going to come to an end. We'll become extinct. The world won't end. I'm going to say this. You can believe me or not, and it's okay. Our ETs, the ETs, our futuristic brothers, whatever you want to call them, they care about the welfare of this planet just like some of us humans do. They need some of the resources on this planet just like we do as humans. Now, sometimes messages and signs and omens, um, the universe sometimes gives us these messages. Now, I was watching something on TV about Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is in San Luis Obispo County, I think, in California. And this had to do with an Air Force photographer back in the 40s who wanted to videotape the launching of these nuclear missiles that they were testing back in the 40s. Okay. Um, he decided he was going to put his cameras up in the Big Sur National Forest. Now, Big Sur, part of Central California, that used to be my backyard. I used to live in that area. So this camera could see right down into the coast, Vandenberg, and you can actually see that rocket launching. Okay, so they had several rockets they were going to launch, and all of them failed, which was unheard of. This was back in the 40s, 47. I think it was 47, 48. So anyway, this whole thing, this whole thing was videotaped. So the photographer went back to Big Sur, got his reel of film, and started playing it back. And as that rocket was going up and it started going up, up, up into orbit, there was this UFO. And I'm sure it's been on. I don't even know what I was watching. It wasn't Ancient Aliens, but I'm sure they've covered it. I was watching some other show about disclosure of UFOs and military disclosure. I don't remember what it was called, but it shows, the video footage literally shows that UFO lasering something on one side and it goes around to the other and it lasers it on another. And the rocket does not deploy. They like dismantled it. Our futuristic brothers were giving us a message back then not to fuck with nukes. They know. And here we are, possibly getting ready to go into war, nuclear war. So, um, when I say we need a higher power to step in, I'm not referring to God. Okay. I'm actually referring to the ETs. I do think they walk among us. I do think they're right under our noses. You can call me crazy, but they might be our only hope in preventing this because they know um, how detrimental it is. I do believe that's why Mars was not inhabitable. Um, which man is, I kind of think men going to Mars is like going backwards. Mars has already been inhabited, and I do think there was nuclear war on that planet. And that's why the life that was there probably came here. Just a theory. I could talk all day about space and UFOs and um, different types of alien races. Yeah, I'm one of those. But anyway, that is my little spiel. I want you guys to have a very blessed new moon. All my Patreon, keep your eye out. I've got about 2 things I'm getting ready to post for you guys. One will be the spell work that I actually learned from my astrologer, and you're supposed to do it on the day of the new moon. And then I'm coming back here to record in the next hour for the general public, The Stars of Virginia and Clarence Thomas. And check out my April energy forecast on astrologywitch.com. Give me a like here. Eventually, if I could get to 1,000, I could actually record from my phone, and then I would never have to put up with this. Your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting ever again. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks you guys for tuning. And all of you have a blessed new moon. I will, like I said, I'm going to do a recording right after I get off of here on Clarence Thomas, and then it'll upload. Take about an hour. So just keep your eyes open for that. And I will try and get back on here maybe on Sunday. If I don't go for a hike, and I'll maybe pull some cards. Okay. All of you out there have a great weekend ahead. Be safe, and catch you on the flip side. Ciao, you guys.